Providence International Buddhist Progress Society in Dallas, Texas. So please join me for giving her a very warm welcome. Venerable.
Tonight, I would turn the Dharma talk into a discussion, more discussion, because the word is, I'm sorry, it doesn't look so small in my screen, but here, I don't know why it got so small. So the title is Search for Security from, you cannot see that, right? I'm sorry. From a Buddhist perspective.
It's good.
So the word of security is very important. You know how important it is? For example, when I came here, I have to go through the custom, right? And for what? For security check, right? Whenever you go out, or you enter certain area or certain country, you have to go through the security check. And I tell you the joke about I'm doing the security check. Before, as you know, from the introduction, it says 30 years is a long time, right? I've been a nun for 30 years. First, you can imagine 30 years ago in America, to see these kind of people is very rare, right? Most of them, they think I am some gang. I'm from some gang.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Because I live in New York. When I took ordination in Shilai Temple, I wore the color black, the black robe, because I was a novice at that time. And I took plane from Los Angeles, went back to New York. I remember very clearly when I was in Chicago, I transferred the plane. I had to take another plane, connecting plane. And one of the attendants, she followed me. And she, of course, in a very nice way. But I know that's, I'm some courtesy. I mean, it's a courtesy just to look for your way or see you off. But I know at that time, a lot of people, they don't have that identity of a nun looks like. When I walk in the street in Manhattan, I heard someone, when I pass a door from a very fancy department, and I suddenly heard someone talk at my back and say, "What's that?" I thought, what's that? Okay, because they don't know it's female or male, so they use, what's that? So I said, I'm a nun. You are a nun? I said, yes. And when usually when I push the door for ladies' room, you got the wrong way. Even till now, yes. Yeah. Ask them. I don't know you have that kind of experience or not, but so many times. So one day when I go through a security check, you know, we have to go into the X-ray, you know, the door. Okay, and they stop me. And they have to touch check because I am having a rope. Okay, that time was so a nervous time. So I have to stand there, and a man coming toward me, and I know that he didn't know I am a female. Okay? So I just wait. I just like this, and wait. Until just one step away, he is there, and I suddenly said, I am a woman. And he shouted, woman's check. So that's a little joke. I mean, with the God. But for security check, why we have that security check? And I have an answer. Because we have to make others feel secure, right? Is that right?
Yep.
So that's why we have security check. So that makes me feel more comfortable because I'm contributing something at least to make others feel secure. So I don't blame any trouble from the security check because that is a good thing I did, right? I make people feel more safe. So the word security, if we use another kind of perspective to see that. For Chinese people, you know, we greet to each other, right? Everybody greet to each other. So you know, the normal sentence, the general sentence, when two people, they meet, especially during the mealtime or before the mealtime, for two Chinese, just guess, what would they ask to each other? Have you eaten yet? Because that makes us feel secure. Because we are full and we feel good. There's a kind of security, right? So you can find how we need the security, the sense of security in our living. That's one example. So such as even in the Western style greeting, how are you? Right? How? That's a level. How do you do? How are you doing? Are you okay? Are you all right? And especially in the holiday season like this, Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas. Merry is an adjective, right? It's my wish to you. So from the conversation, we find we all need the sense of security in our daily life, right? Everybody will not, yes. But we are talking about the first, the definition, and why do we need the sense of security? And also the difference of opinions and views from the psychiatrist and from the Buddhist perspective. So let's, I have a question. If you think about or you want to answer, just raise your hand, or even you just speak out. In what situation you find you feel secure? In what situation? You have to think.
In the mother's womb.
In the mother's womb, yeah, it's a protection, right? Because you have the mother's womb protection. And what? In what situation you feel secure? Huh?
Family?
Staying with family members. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. And what else?
Have a house to stay when hurricane comes.
Wow, that's a good answer. You have the experience in a very stern, strong house, and you stay inside and keep away the hurricane, keep away the destroying force, right? And in what situation you feel secure?
Around
Not my
others
car.
that care about me.
Excuse me?
Around others that care
about me?
around your friends
Yes.
who care about us, right? And around, you said, in your car?
Yeah, I had lock it and I feel so secure. Otherwise, I don't know why.
Let me ask you always lock yourself in your car to have that sense of security? So that means if you feel something dangerous outside, then you decide to lock yourself in your car, right? That makes you a little bit secure. Okay, so what else? In what situation? Yes?
A consistent income.
That's a good answer. That's a real practical one. Yes, I need income, I need money. Yes, that's security. So the first we say the Latin word, but I don't know, I can pronounce it right, but that's the word. Secura, right? Secura.
Sounds like secure.
Yeah. And now that's an adjective that means safe or free from worries and carefree. And of course, we have anxiety and we have uncertainty. And most of all, we have fear. So security, that's the word we made for the situation. It's very safe. You don't have to worry about a thing. That's the security. That's the man-made word. But of course, since it is man-made, yeah, it's a word. It's only a word. And also, when we are trapped by uncertainty, we were trapped by anger, by fear, then we have the sense of insecurity, right? Is that the two extremes that Buddha said? Right or wrong? Security, insecurity, black and white?
Suffering and no suffering.
Yeah, suffering. Some scientists, they don't believe that evolution from Darwin. But anyway, just imagine that if we were living in the cave, and outside of cave, there are animal beasts, and we have our enemies, and we don't have enough food, and it makes us worry. But since we have food, we have water, and we have the protection from hunger, right? That's the basic needs we have. We need food. And the second one is that if I can get away from my enemies, enemies may be tiger or elephant or something, the beast, they want to chase you, or the other people, they fought with you for more food. And if you can keep away all these at that time, then you feel much secure. But these two, right now we said we need more, not only food and water, not only a warm place to stay. We are the social animal because we live together, so we need more things to build up. Just like that, we need money, we need relationship with each other, right? We need reputation, we need more, we need our social recognition. So we work, we keep contacting with others. We need family. We need friends. We need wealth. We need health. We need a lot of things. That's the way we build a sense of security. We wrap around by all the things. But these things, if you analyze that, the feeling is all from our feeling, right? We feel that we have protection. We feel we have achievements. We feel that we have good relationship with others. We feel we have a happy family life. And of course, that's the fact. And the fact comes from your feeling. So all these, that's the normal way we say we find our security. And it comes to that all these are essential ingredients of a happy family, a happy life, right? If we have all these, then we feel happy because we don't have to worry about money. We don't have to worry about anything, and that's the happy life. Yeah, that's the psychiatrist said. If we have all these, then we really have the big range of sense of security. I think there is no one here deny all this. We do need all this because it gives us protection, gives us carefree feeling. And of course, that's real to us. And now, is that too much? Yeah. We think back. Remember I asked you, is that the Buddha reminds us we have two extremes. Since we have security, then when we have the sense of security, at the same time, still we have worry. Because we all know we cannot control everything, right? So that's why we still have, when we have the sense of security, in our bottom of the heart, we still have the other extremes. That's constantly we feel insecure. I don't know it's right or not. I mean, for everyone. For me, I have that kind of experience. Yes. Everybody will just ask, are you happy now? And of course I said yes. But usually in my mind I said, right now, yes. But I don't know the next moment. See, that's my insecurity, sense of insecurity. Maybe being a nun for 30 years, you have to think about constantly the teaching of Buddha, impermanence. That's why I said, yes, I am right now at this moment, very contented, very secure, but when I heard some bad news, like Hurricane Harvey, the storm, a lot of people, they lost their families and lost their land, lost their houses, and I don't feel happy. So we shift our emotions instantly, I mean constantly. That's why. That's my experience. So, one by one, and sometimes we feel secure, sometimes we don't feel secure. Why is that? So that's my question. Yet, even though we know how to build the security, and maybe we gain a lot of security from those goals, but why still we find ourselves have the sense of insecurity? Why? If we have everything in the whole world, why still we find incomplete? So someone who can write beautiful words saying that even though you have all the money in the whole world, you cannot buy sleep, right? Even though you have the big mansion, luxurious mansion in the world, but how large you stay. Even though you have the big house, but actually you just occupied a small space. You cannot occupy all the rooms. So that's, we have to keep ask ourselves, why? If the security is the best and the essential ingredients in our life, but why sometimes we feel insecure? Before I go on, let me ask you, is anyone here has no sense of insecurity? Is there anyone here find your life is so happy? I don't feel any trouble. I don't feel any insecurity. Is that anyone have that kind of feeling? Is that? Do we have raising hands? So we all accept that, right? Even though we try very hard to find our security, but why sometimes we still feel insecure? That's the question I would like to discuss with you. So here, that's not from me. It's from the Buddha. But I can tell you, according to the modern psychiatrist said, the largest fear for human being is the number 4, death. They gave a lot of examples. One of my professor, he said, when her daughter was only 5 years old, one day, her daughter ran out from her room, and that time, supposed to sleep on the bed. And upstairs, her daughter shouted, "I don't want to die!" And the professor was reading his book downstairs. And when he heard that, he just shouted, "Go back to your bed!" Nonsense! But the mother heard about that, and she said to her daughter, "Honey, don't worry. You have a long life to live." And daughter went back to her room and have a sound sleep. And the professor told us, see, even the 5 years old, the little kid, I didn't discuss with her the death. But why she had that malu? You heard about that? That means worry, internal malu. Why? Because it's just natural. All human beings, according to Buddhism, we have incarnation, right? For each life, we accumulate all our experiences that we call karma. It's a kind of experiences in our life. We accumulate that. And everyone, we have the same experience of what? Of these: birth, old age, sickness, and death. That's why we need not to be taught about the fear of death. We all have the same common fear. We all have that kind of feeling of insecurity. And Maslow, the other psychiatrist in hundreds years ago, he made the conclusion, said that the soul belief is the greatest and clever invention of human being. I don't know if you agree with it or not. Because we have a fear of death, and then in our mind, in our common mind, then we set up a sense of security. That's soul. Soul never die. To support our psychiatrical survival. So that's what they said. But the Buddha, I don't know, some of you heard about the Four Noble Truths. The first lesson we took in Buddhism. Suffering. When I heard that, when I was young, 30 years ago. What? I'm still young. Why should I have all this kind of suffering? I don't have suffering at all. Because that time I was too young. But right now, myself and my friends, or my friends' friends, my relatives, we all, right now, we fall into the pattern, right? Just like this, we have birth, then we get old, and we get sick, and we approach the stage of final life. And that's the human's insecurity. And according to Buddhism, that the birth, why is insecurity? You just said you feel secure in mother's womb, but in the meantime, when you went through the womb and you were born, can you tell me why you're crying? Because, I asked the doctor, is that all the newborn baby, when they came here, they have to cry? He said, of course, because we spank them. I don't know if it's a joke or not. But my mom said when I was born, I was too hungry, so I didn't cry. I put my fist into my mouth. So you can imagine how big was my mouth. It's real, because I was too fat. I'm the biggest baby in the history of that hospital. Yeah. So I was too hungry. I forgot to cry. But still, right now I remember how tight with my mother's womb. And I just waiting for the light to carry me out. I still have the memory. Because you just imagine I was too fat. My mother's womb just only that big. So I just waiting and waiting. And finally I was born. So that's why I didn't cry, because too hungry. I don't know if my mother told me it's the truth or not, but she said, usually babies, they cry, but me, I didn't, because I'm too hungry. So I just getting some food by biting my fist. But for the reason why we feel insecure when we were born, the psychiatrist said, baby, oh, they are adorable, they are naive, they are so cute, but actually they are stupid. That's my teacher said. Why? Because they are not ready. Even though they were born, but they are not ready to accept the new world. See? They have to challenge with the world. They have to grow up. They have to be taught. No. You cannot do that. Don't run. That's the challenge of the baby. Even though said they are naive, they are adorable, but we were all babies before. But when we grow up, we forgot what we learned, right? Or what our insecurity, the feeling of insecurity, we all forgot. We can only remember that we growing up. We become an adult. We have our own perspective. We can say our language. We are not under the control of our parents. So birth actually is the beginning of the challenge of the new world, because we are not ready yet when we were just born. And that's one suffering. And physically, mother and child, they both get suffering. Because the passage is long, right? To have delivered a baby, the passage is long. It's a suffering. And psychiatrist said, yes, this is the beginning of their challenge. So we all, since we were born, we all have that kind of worry in our mind. But we just neglect that. We didn't think that's important for us, because we grow day by day. We just pass different stages, and we let those behind. But the Buddha didn't forget. Birth is one of the suffering. And of course, old age. Why we have worry? Not only we have more wrinkles, not only our skin, but also because it's a kind of disturbances for our life. We don't feel comfortable, right? The old age, we feel the difference. Being young and being older, there is a big difference. We lack of energy, we lack of strength, and sometimes we lack of memory. Yeah, it's worrying. It's a disturbance in our life, really. And of course, psychiatrically and physically, we feel the difference. That's why we worry. But that's a natural process of being a person, of being a human being. And of course, then, yeah, we cannot guarantee ourselves all being healthy all the way. That's why we have worry. We have sickness because that is a big threat to our health. We don't feel comfortable anymore, right? We cannot control ourselves, maybe physically or even mentally. That's why we have the sense of insecurity. And for that sense of insecurity in Buddhism, that's suffering. So these are the four basic ones we cannot control. But, you know, we all accept, right? We all accept. We have to live. We have to survive in this world. And since these are the natural sides of human being, and we all accept. But next one, I don't think we totally agree with that. Yeah, I know, I'm getting old. Everyone's getting old. So there's no competition. It's fair, right? Everyone do the same thing. We were born and we're getting old and we have sickness. And one day, everyone here going to the same path, not the Buddha path, but no, to the destiny. But what about this? Actually, these are, most of them are emotions, the kind of feelings. Usually we can accept the first to the fourth, but we cannot accept this. Can you believe that? Just think about that. Why can't I get what I want? Why? Why can I keep getting something I don't want? So just check this. The fifth one, getting what you don't want. I kept encountering the people I don't like. So, having the work I don't like. So I can change. I can leave. I can change. The reason we can change the situation, so that's why we don't accept the fact that you keep getting what you don't want. You know what I mean? That means we deny the fact. That's a suffering to us, because we want to create the sense of security. And this situation, I can change, right? I just leave and I don't want to meet these people, so I want to getting my own way of creating the sense of security. So the fifth, the sixth, seventh, and eighth, actually, we deny to accept the fact. Why? We'll keep asking. So, getting what you don't want, that means you keep encountering, meeting undesirable people or situations or things or objects. And of course, you don't feel comfortable with that. But I need to create a sense of security, so I will do something. And the same thing, number 6, not being able to hold on to what is desirable. In Chinese, we have a more direct translation. That means separation. Separation from people you love. Separation from something you want to hold on. Separation from the comfort. Separation from something you are familiar with. In Chinese, we say that's 爱别离苦. But for English, we have these just being apart, separate from something you want to hold on. And number 7, not getting what you do want. A little bit similar with number 5. But number 7 is something you want to gain, like achievement, like fame, like a reputation, but you cannot get it. That's in Chinese we say 求不得. You cannot ask for everything in the world. And that makes us angry. So we have insecurity. And number 8, think that's the suffering, that's the root. Because we are human and we have 5 aggregates. For someone who is studying Buddhism, we say the 5 aggregates. Actually, it means 5 hips. Why is hips? Just like the straw, they top each other, layer by layer, just like you make the cake, the layer cake. One layer, and then you put the other top on that. Layer by layer, it's 5 hips. So what are the 5 aggregates? The first one, the rupa, that means matter or body or form. Because through our eyes, we can see all the forms, right? Mm-hmm. And the second one, that's our sensation, our feeling. So when we take meditation, we have sensational feeling. We have to practice. First, the basic one, when we take meditation, all the teachers said, don't think about anything, just pay attention to your breathing, right? Breathing in, count 1. Breathing out, you count 1. breathing in and out, then you count 1. And when you do this cycle from 1 to 10 without interruption, okay, and then what? Then we have to move to sensational feeling. What is sensational feeling? That's just pure feeling. And the second step, the teacher will teach us. Now you don't count, just to feel. Feel the air hitting on your skin. Now tell me, how can you feel the air hitting on your skin? Then I asked my teacher, why the air can hit my skin? Just tell me, how? Can you feel that? No. Because I'm in the air, so I don't feel anything. They are not hitting my skin. But if you pay attention, you can feel what they are doing, the air, the pure air, the flow of the air. You can feel. You can feel your skin just a little bit tingling, a little bit warm, a little bit coldness. Yeah, you can feel that. Only if you pay attention to your skin. So that's the sensational feeling, sensational feeling. That's the second step, we move on. And what about that? The third step, now go back to your mind to reflect your thoughts. Because we always have wandering thoughts on our mind, right? When we sit, we are not really sitting. We are thinking. Because we always carry by our thoughts. When I was in meditation school, we have to sit at least 9 hours a day. And not along the retreat. But anyway, we have to sit. And also we have to teach. And one day, there's a group of professors from China. They teach all kinds of knowledge. So I said, let's close our eyes and we just pay attention to our breathing. We are going to take 5 minutes sitting. Okay, 5 minutes? How long is 5 minutes? I don't know. But according to one of the professor, he raised his hands. He said, I cannot sit. Why? You just close your eyes and just pay attention to your breathing. No, because when I close my eyes, so many images in my mind. I said, and what do you see? I saw, I was teaching in the classroom. I saw the image of the students, and I even saw the image. I reviewed the final test of my students. See, it's very hard for the professor to even sit for 3 minutes. That's why he said, I'm afraid to close my eyes. Because when I close my eyes, everything rushed to me. And that's the hardest. When we reflect our mind, the mind actually is calm, is pure. There is no differences. But if we have so many thoughts wandering about in our mind, that we have to cleansing them. We have pacified them. And that's why we use the first step, counting our breathing, to pacify our wandering mind. But that's not all. We have to feel. the air. Those material or those particles around all of us every day. We didn't notice that, so we have to observe that. So that's the sensation. And the third hips or third the aggregates, that's the perspective, our concept, our thinking. And also we have mental activities. We are thinking. We receive the knowledge, and we are a computer. Then we work in our mind, and that's the mental activities. And also we have pure consciousness. So that's 5 aggregates. That's 5 hips. Formulate all the experience being an individual, being a human being. So, of course, we feel. We feel, therefore, we are. I feel, therefore, I am. It's not the body, it's the mind. We use our mind to feel. And also, we have consciousness that brings out the emotions, brings out all kinds of perspectives. And that's, the Buddha said, we are all falling into the pattern day by day. So no matter how many steps or how many goals we get to make security, still we feel unsecure because we fell on the pattern of these kind of sufferings. That's why, even though we pay much effort to create the sense of security, but still, with these 8 sufferings, we still feel unsecure sometimes. So what to do? We still live. We have to survive, right? So the remedy is very simple. Just to become aware and also no way to go. We have to accept that. So become aware. Even though we tried every day very hard to create more security in our life, but just remember, we have to include insecurity as part of our life. It doesn't mean that it will destroy our life if we include insecurity. That's the fact. If we deny the fact and we put away and put it aside, it's incomplete in our life. Actually, the Buddha said, all the hardship is a chance for us to learn more. So to include the insecurity as part of life, actually we create more for ourselves. I will tell you how. But why we do that? as the practitioner of Buddhism, we aware of that, right? Just like we aware of our 8 kinds of sufferings in our life. Birth, old age, sickness, death, we cannot control because that's the procedure. Everybody has to go through all that. But from get something you don't want to, we can do something about that. Or you want something you won't handle, we can do something about that. So why we have to become aware and accept the fact? Because it's a chance for us to gain mindful awareness of, again, that's what the Buddha said, impermanence. Everything goes in permanence. Yeah, it's true, but it's true. When we find something is not complete or have some issues, and that means that's the fact we accept because we are a human being, right? A human being is a learning process. A lot of times people will ask me, why am I here? I didn't want to come here. That's my parents brought me here, brought me in this world. I don't want to be in this world. Sorry, you are the master of yourself. You are the person who make the plan to come to this world. And the force behind the master is your karma, your behavior, your accumulation. Both things brought you here. And why you are here? Because we are not completed yet. We are not done with ourselves yet. We come here for learning better because we want to create ourselves a sense of security. In previous lives, we don't have sense of security. So that's why we choose to come here, and then we create more about security for ourselves. Even though there are a lot of insecurity in this world, but gradually we can figure out something. So that's why, if we are learning Buddhism, then the first lesson, we know the suffering. And also, we know everything is impermanent. And that will bring us the more awareness of the fact of life. Then we don't have fear about our life. Because insecurity, impermanence, that's one part of life. That's natural. And also, why we say the remedy is accepting the insecurity, because it can avoid us and basing our sense of security on transient objects. Once we learn about the fact of impermanence, then we will detach a little bit from materials or from the perspective we attach to. And we become more freer. And we have self-esteem in ourselves. And also here, to train our minds to achieve inner peace. Since we cannot put faith in the outside world, external phenomena, and then we have trained our mind, we have to create inner peace in our mind. That's the way. Otherwise, just like the circle, we just won't feel secure because we keep trying to build up security in the outside world. And the outside world we cannot control because it's changing and changing. That's why we say just go back and put yourself to observe your mind and to realize the nature of mind. And then we can have less and less the sense of insecurity because we don't put our faith on the outside world. We put our faith to ourselves to make more peace in the inner part of ourselves. And that's, according to the Buddha, that's the remedy. That's the cure for our life and our incarnation. And also here. Now, from the perspective of Buddhism, if the remedy is to accept, then how can we practice? How can we gain more security? In other way, not to have much money, because in Buddhism we say if we ask a lot of money, but money is not worthy trust. Why? Because money can be stolen by others. Money, treasure, will be drawn by the water, will be burned by the fire, or even will be grabbed by somebody else. So it's not security. Right now, it says here, we have another way to build up our security. The first is just love yourself. See, over here, developing self-compassion. Maybe you said, why? Self-compassion? And what about others? Of course, when you love yourself, that means you respect yourself. You don't waste your time. And you have more positive thinking. That's the way of self-compassion. Developing self-compassion, you respect yourself because you are your master. You have to treat yourself good by have a good thinking, by do good things that can bring you comfort, that can bring you the sense of security. So we said, just if you want to have the plain words, that means love yourself, respect yourself, because you are unique in the world, right? In May, usually we will celebrate the Buddha's birthday. And according to the scriptures, that Buddha has said the fourth sentence. after he was born, he said, under this universe, I am unique. That means everybody, because he is representing the sentient being to say that. Everyone, every sentient being is unique in this world, in this universe. So respect yourself first. And then you can respect others. Because we say interdependent origination, you have your respect to yourself, then you cultivate the force and kind of energy. Maybe you have heard energy field. Once you have the thought, then actually it becomes a kind of force. So compassion is very great force. We can make it by ourselves. So first, we're developing self-compassion. And of course, we use or practice insight meditation. Meditate, that means concentrate. Just concentrate your monkey mind. We just say that. Our mind usually is like a jumping monkey. Just jumping, keep jumping. It never stops. But once we sit quietly, then you can see your mind very clearly. It's the process of cleansing. Then you have more confidence to yourself. Then you have less complaint about others. And then the third way, understanding impermanence. Haha, that's the truth. I'm sorry. You have to learn about that so you can have provisional nature of all conditioned things. So you are not tied up by the situation you encounter. Someone cut you off while you're driving. Before, maybe you got angry, right? And do some good language to that person. But right now, maybe you said, okay, that person or she or he is in a hurry. Yeah, that's the practice. And then also reflecting our motivations. That means we think about the law of cause and effect. What would we like to become in the future? When I went to a college, I like to have discussion with those high school students, and one of the students, he said to me, "You talk about the world peace, but I don't believe that. Do you think we can have peace on earth in the future?" You know, at that moment, I thought a little bit. It's hard for me to say, yes, I believe. What about you? You believe the world peace? Even though every year I went to some of the churches and we all have the world prayer, world peace prayer. But just tell me, do you believe that? You believe one day we have the world peace? And after maybe 1 minute silence, I told the young boy, "I'm sorry. Be true. I don't believe that. But I believe you can change." And after I went home, I thought about a little bit. I said, it's my answer, even though it's true from my heart. But will it hurt or will it's destructive, to the little boy? Well, he felt that even you, a religious person, you don't believe world peace. So I said to myself, is that right or wrong? Right, because I told my feeling, okay? But the truth is that, did I hurt the boy's heart? So, what are we doing? We project our mind every day, right? And we try to create more sense of security. World peace, that's what we are creating. But right now we see is violence. So how can I have faith on that? How can I have my belief on the world peace? Just tell me. But later on, something come up, an inspiration. I said, even though I said, right now, I don't see the future was there for world peace. But I have faith on the younger generation. On one day, the world peace will arrive. I wish I could tell the boy, but the chance was lost. So I have a little bit regret. I do, really, even though I was trapped in my constant emotion, but I do believe there will be world peace in one day in the younger generation. Even though we don't see that, we don't see any sparkle. But look around. A lot of people, they are trying, right? They are trying to make world peace in different ways. So that's the chance. We have to believe, because a lot of people, they are trying. They are trying to remove the insecurity of the world. And we should put faith on that. Okay, so we say another way is keeping very easy, non-judgmental. That means when we eat, that means we don't eat. Is that all right? Now in Chan practice is that. But what do we say non-judgmental? That means we don't put our biased mind on that. When we say something, we have to say something not judgmental. We don't criticize things. We don't take it for granted. We have to look around and open our eyes and see and feel. Then we talk. So non-judgmental mind is a peaceful mind. Is a mind of respect. So that's non-judgmental. And also, we practice giving or sharing. Even though I don't have much money, but it doesn't hurt me for sharing, right? I share a good idea, I share good words. It's kind of sharing. That's a positive energy. And also, of course, That's, we practice compassion. We're cultivating our compassion to the whole world. Nowadays, we say we are the global people. We are not the people for a certain area. Before, they said, oh, you live at the end of there. But right now, we have technology. There is no difference between countries. Of course, if we want to go to a far place, we still have to take train, we still have to take plane, but not technology, right? You can, if you use Line or Twitter, once, I know President likes to use that. Once you open that, the whole world trembling. See,
Sad.
it's sad,
Suffering.
but yeah, we can practice ourselves, then our compassion will be faster than Twitter, will be faster than Line, because our energy, we have the common energy. Then we can have more security in the world. That's the same thing in the Buddha story. The Buddha here, of course, he claimed himself, I am enlightened. I'm not God. I'm a human, but I am an enlightened person, just like one of the sentient beings. But one thing, I'm different from the human, is that I have wisdom. I have the wisdom so that I open my eyes not to the certain area. I open my eyes to observe the whole country, the whole universe. That's why he said, we are interdependent origination, right? We depend on each other. We are here, even though our dress is different, even though our thinking is different, but we have possessed with the same Buddha nature. That's from the Buddhas. That's what he said to us. That's why he said, after I entering nirvana, still my teaching will pass long, long way. That's what he said. If he doesn't have the sense of security, he would say, come on, let my life existed forever. Right, because we are afraid of death, right? That's part of our human nature. But for the Buddha, he is above that. He knew his body is decaying, is useless. That's why he said, okay, when I was 80 years old, that's the time for me to relax, to take a rest, because that time is also the moment I extinguish my anger, my ignorance, my greed, and that's the time for me to entering nirvana. So the meaning of nirvana is that completed the good quality of being a person. I achieved my goal. The goal of being a Buddha is that no more the three poisons. No more ignorance, no more greed, no more hatred, no more aversion. I am completed. I have done my homework in this life. So, with a lot of peacefulness, and there I'm gone. That's gone. I'm well gone. And that's what we are learning from him. Even though in this world we have a lot of sufferings, we have a lot of insecurities, but remember the teaching of the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, he experienced for so many years. And he said to us, there is always hope. Even though in this chaotic world, we have fear, we have violence, we have worry, we have fear. But once we have completed all the practices, we have hope and we can attain enlightenment. So, Venerable Master Xing Yun conclude these in 3 very short sentences. If you want to have achieved the goal of the Buddha way, very simple. Now, do good things, right? You have good thoughts, and of course, you have good words. Good things, good words, good thoughts. And that's the way. As a conclusion, the way of gaining the true security of our life. Remember, just accept the incomplete part. And that's the non-judgmental mind. We accept everything because that's the part of life. We cannot avoid the other part. Now we put 2 extremes together because that's life. But we find a good way to gain more security in our life. So, tonight, it's time, I'm sorry. It's over. So I would like, before the Christmas, they said, Buddhist nuns, you don't have Christmas because Christmas is Christian. But I said, no, the Christmas is the Holy Spirit because that's the hope for the world, right? Since the Buddha born, we have the new hope. Since the Jesus born, then the whole world has new hope. Because no matter Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, or Jesus, they provide the new thinking to the world. That's what we can learn from them for creating more security in the world. Equality, right? Compassion, charity, wisdom, it's all the new things they brought to us. So it's a happy holiday. And I wish you the next year, for Chinese, next year would be the year of dog. You know the character of dog for Chinese? they always watch the doors for you. So from our masters, the red paper, the red scroll, maybe you have the legacy of loyalty. So we have to be loyal to ourselves. Why? Because one day we can become a Buddha. So after becoming Buddha, no more worry about the definition of security or insecurity. Because in the Buddha's world, everything is peace. We wish that day will come soon. And thank you for being here the 2 hours or 1.5 hours. And if you have any question, please, if you have any comments, you are most welcome. If anyone like to have something to say? Yeah?
I thought of something, Venerable, when you talked about self-compassion. An African-American poet and a novelist and commentator here in the States. And they were talking about race relations. And he said, you know, when white people learn to truly, he said, truly, truly love themselves, there will not be a black problem. And I think, you know, yeah. And when you think about that, that's really deep, because when you truly have compassion for yourself, you don't have to find fault with anyone else.
Wow.
Yes, Mama, if you have real, right, you can't, because you are all the same. Equality, the same.
Those things in life you have no control over, you know, birth, death, and sickness and aging, versus those things you really do have control over. It's just having the right mindset, the right view. I liked the way you broke that out separately.
That's from the book.
And don't have the basics that we may have. I will often suggest they just do the mantra of everything will be okay.
Wow, well, that's a good practice. Yes.
That was my question. Because it is sort of an oversimplification and maybe a denial that, you know, insecurity is a fact of life and therefore everything may not be okay.
Yeah. So I think that's good. Just practicing a certain mantra, and you give, we call the transfer of merits, and you have your wish for the betterness of the world. It's a kind of helping way, yes.
Do you have any other suggestions for a mantra?
Any kind of mantra will good.
Okay.
Yeah. Ming with me. You know, the karma, just like transferring the good karma to me, and I trade the bad karma to him. Does that work? Does that work? Of course, we say karma as your own personal behavior. If it's your own personal, just like the signature is unique, right? You cannot really transfer that. But if you have an intention, you are aware of your bad karma, then just like you can have a glass of water, even though the salt is very strong, but if you put the salt in a glass, a big glass of water, you'll dilute the saltness. So that's the theory. You cannot really take them all, but you can dilute them. You can minimize that, right? Just like we click on the computer, enlarge and minimize. So still, the intention is very important. If we have good intention, no matter what, remember the good intention becomes a positive energy in the universe. You cannot feel that, but still it exists. That's from the expert of quantum, right? We say the quantum, that's a kind of energy we cannot see, but still exists, right? So that's a kind of force. Our mind, you see the swastika sign, someone say, wow, a little boy, that's Nazis. The Nazis is on the Buddha's chest. I said, no, it's not Nazi sign. I said, maybe it's the same, because those two signs appear in the ancient books of India. And that means the most influential and most greatest power in the world. But the Nazi took the other one. They stole the sign. But since that's Buddhism, we have the sign on Buddha's chest. Why? Because the mind force is the greatest power in the world. So always remember the intention. So there is a said, before we have that, reflect our behavior and think about the law of cause and effect. If we won't have better things happening than before we make good courses, right? So if we want to minimize our bad karma, it's okay. We still have that karma, but we can dilute that. The salt, pile of salt is very, very salty. But if we can put more water in, it will dilute it. So that's, I answered just borrowing the Buddha's example. Okay, so anyone have any comments?
No.
Yeah, you have something to say?
So we were talking about security.
Security, yes.
And any attachment to it. So let's say right now I'd like to become Buddhist. I'd like to come here and leave my house, leave my everything that I got for years. Try to get into my business. Try to put everything set up to do business, right? So I'm ready to leave that things, but that things get me into Buddhism. I ask myself many times, because if I leave what I did, what I working for, doesn't get me into it, because everything comes from the mind. It's not from outside. I can have my car, I can have my house, but the only thing I supposed to do, not attached to it, not attached to the house, not attached to the car, not attached to the people, not attached to my wife. Just enjoy that without naming. No name for it. If I don't name, that's my car, that's my house, that's my people. So when I'm not attached to it, I can enjoy that. So that's when past or future is now. It's not past, no future. Just now, I can enjoy now. The next moment, like you say, next moment you don't know. I know what I passed a few seconds ago, but I don't know what is coming, because there is no future. It's just now. If I create my present, what I think right now, or what I am right now, is the future is that. The next moment is what I am right now. There is, oh, okay, I may explain myself very clear, but I
It's
just,
okay, I just trying to clear that out. What do you think about you don't
just
think
I
about
just
that?
leave that.
You
I
just
leave,
leave your
enjoy
life.
talking. Yes,
Yeah, that's
enjoy
good.
talking.
So you are enjoying,
Yeah,
even though you don't have to be detached from everything. I mean, of course, we saying one of the practicing in Buddhism is detached, right?
yeah,
But think about that. If we are too much detached from the society or from our life, then it becomes non-real. Is that right? If you said, so I'm practicing non-attachment, I don't have to work, I don't have to do anything. It's not being a person, because we are still living in the society. We have to support. Remember, I said we have to survive, right? So, of course, we need to work.
yeah.
Of course, we have to learn. That's normal. So if you think you have no problem right now, then you just live your life like that.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah. So
Okay.
what's the problem? I don't think you have the problem. Do you think you have problem in your life?
no, right now.
Yeah, and that's good. And bless you. And wish you keep that kind of life. So just leave it. But just practice more compassion. Right? That's it.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
We should all rise and say thank you to Venerable Kuang for this very, very special